Hello and welcome to this What to Look For in Next Generation Intelligent Displays session as part of the GSMA partner program here at Mobile World Congress Shanghai. My name is Ben Wood. I'm from the research firm CCS Insight, and I'm delighted to be joined by a fantastic panel of guests today to talk about this really exciting topic. With me, I have Stefan Streit, who is the General Manager of Global Markets for TCL. I have Steve Kim, who works in the CSOT team at TCL, and he's a leading expert on OLED technology. We're also very lucky to have Francois Grandclerc from DxO Mark, who is the display quality director there, and they are a company that is benchmarking mobile device displays and other displays as an independent analyst. And also we have Ting Chion from Pixelworks, and Pixelworks are a partner company of TCL. They're a customer they are a customer of TCL's, and they are working to deliver intelligent chips that enhance the performance of displays in numerous types of devices. Over the next hour, we hope to cover some really exciting elements. We are at a time in the world where display technology has never been more important. In fact, all of you joining us today will hopefully be sitting with a fantastic display, be that a big display, TV, or even PC or mobile phone or smartphone. So Stefan, let's come to you. You've been following this market for a long time. At TCL, you've been talking a lot about screen technology. I've been lucky enough to be with you at physical events where we've had the chance to look at the amazing prototypes that TCL have been working on using some of the pioneering flexible display technology you've been working on. Why is screen technology such an important differentiator for TCL?
Well, Ben, thank you for having me as well on this panel here, and welcome from my side as well. So display technology, we believe, is something that is very, very important going forward. Looking now into the market and looking at how much time we spend in front of displays per day, actually we know that the time has increased quite dramatically from on an average like 5 hours a day to an average of 7 hours a day. And if you calculate this up, then it's becoming like 35 years of a regular adult life being spent in front of screens. Wow. Okay, which is quite a massive time. And I think, looking a bit on the market, that the smartphone markets or the mobile category, is highlighting a lot the cameras, and cameras are super, super important, for the consumers. But we believe like the thing you're really looking at so long per day is the screen itself. And this is something that TCL can bring some expertise to the market and some new innovations, because TCL is one of the leading display manufacturing, but also display technology companies in the world. And therefore, we want to bring, so to say, all this expertise and this know-how we have from the TV display manufacturing, but also from all the other display manufacturing into the mobile category to make this a more, comfortable experience for the users going forward. And of course, in the longer term as well, and we can talk about this a little bit later, bringing new product innovation with new form factors and new screen technologies in the next few years to the market. So we believe the screen itself has been a little bit, underestimated in the past, but actually this is the most critical component, we believe, in the next couple of years going forward for the consumers, and it will be more relevant to differentiate your product.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Stefan. That's a great way to start the panel. And now I'd actually like to turn to Steve Kim, who's at the CSOT part of TCL. Steve, I know there's lots of people who'll be watching this event who are very familiar with the TCL brand. They'll be familiar with their TVs. They'll be familiar with their mobile phones, but they may not know so much about the huge investments that TCL has made in display technology. Could you tell us a bit about the work TCL has been doing over the last decade to invest in display technology, and how that's been evolving, and how you've become one of the leaders in this field?
All right, thank you. I think since 5 years ago, TCL, they invested 4 lines, totally $20 billion. Even last year, they start to invest more on the printing technology, and also they try to expand their LCD line, as well as we are trying to make a flexible line. So I think in this year, we try to invest more in from mobile to TV side. And then our TCL group, we are ranking, for example, North America, 2019, it was a second, and the last year is a third. And also the last year, even we got the net profit almost $100 million in the Q3.
So you talk about the different lines that you have. I believe you're working on a number of different technologies, you know, the cutting edge, the printed screen technology. But could you about the different types of technology that TCL have in screens? Just an overview for now, and then we can dive into it later on.
Okay, basically TCL, they started the LCD line almost 10 years ago. Now they are switching into OLED line, not only the TV and also the mobile. So we have two locations. One is Shenzhen, the other one is Wuhan. So I'm working in the Wuhan for flexible OLED mobile application, and then TCL, they try to expand such kind of OLED technology into TV application.
Brilliant. Well, we'll come back to the flexible display tech later, because that's something I'm personally very, very interested in. Now, in addition to our two speakers from TCL, we also have two external companies joining us, which is fantastic. And firstly, I'm going to go over to Francois Grandclair at DxO Mark. He works there, as I said at the beginning, as the display quality director. Now, some of you will know DxO Mark as the company which does a lot of the kind of testing and evaluation and scoring of camera technology. But DxO Mark is also working extensively in screen technology. So, Francois, you've been pioneering the work DxO Mark's been doing on display technology. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about DxO Mark and the work you do on benchmarking displays and how you kind of share that information with your customers and the public.
So hello everyone, thanks for having me. So I'm Francois, in charge of the display activity at DxO Mark. So DxO Mark, we are a French company based near Paris with offices in China and in the US, with around 120 persons right now. So we basically provide to our customer measurement reports and consulting services based on objective and perceptual measurement performed on our labs. So as you said, we evaluate camera, but also audio and now display quality in real condition and challenging use cases for consumer product, such as DSLR. So we start with DSLR, now it's smartphone, and recently we launched speakers. So we also publish product review and technical article on our website, where you will find scores and ranking based on user experience. So the score is used to help the end user choosing the right device according to his own needs. And we also share our data with the press, provide them robust technical data that they can use on their own articles. So we look for improving the display quality from an end user perspective based on our testing protocols, reflecting several challenging use cases. So what I mean is that we don't care about the specification. For us, the overall display quality is not only hardware specification, it's a result of the device itself, where the panel quality is, of course, very important, but the video processing, the power consumption management, and the ability to use the full performance of the hardware is also the key. So at DxO Mark, we test the device as a black box. So our measurements are performed with default settings because we think many people use their smartphone with default settings. So we build display labs to measure objective attributes in real condition, like contrast, color fidelity, flicker, but we measure all those things with different lighting conditions. And our added value is also to perform perceptual analysis, where our display experts compare different devices with always the same protocol. So now we end up with 6 different attributes, which are readability, color, video, motion, touch, and artifact. So we score all of this, each of the attributes. And the display score is a combination of all the score with a unique figure.
Fantastic. Well, we'll come back to you in a moment, Francois, to talk about the kind of granularity of some of the things you do on the testing. But I think that should give everybody watching some great confidence in the fact that Francois will be able to give us a good perspective on what it takes to deliver a great display. And then finally, I'm really pleased to have with us Ting Cheong from Pixelworks. Now, Pixelworks is an intriguing company. This is a business that has a small chip that goes into the device that has a screen, and it optimizes the screen performance with some remarkable results. And they've worked closely with TCL to help them really optimize their displays. So, Ting, perhaps you could tell us a bit about Pixelworks and how you've been working with TCL to enhance the performance of their displays.
Yeah, thank you, Ben, and it's a pleasure to be here. Pixelworks was founded in 1997, so it's been about 25 years, and we have been listed on NASDAQ since 2000, so we have some history. And it's headquartered in San Jose, California, but then the main R&D center is in Shanghai, China now. And we focus on visual processing solutions, including semiconductor chips and softwares, and also cloud-based solutions. So one of the we have multiple product lines. One of them is 3 LCD projectors. We're actually the biggest supplier for the SoC in that business. And we're growing our mobile business rapidly. Right now, it's in the form of independent display processor that's being placed in a mobile phone. And in the past 3 years, we've been working with TCL to improve the overall video display quality and utilizing our unique video processing solutions called i3 on multiple models. And a good example is that the TCL 10 Pro released with Next Vision display technology, and it's powered by this processor i3, ranked #1 in 12 of the key use cases that defines a good smartphone display experience, that is video quality and viewing clarity, according to a very well-respected benchmarking institute called DxOMark. And so in that specific review, the 10 Pro beat 8 other smartphones that include some of the most well-known flagships that priced 2 or 3x higher than the TCL 10 Pro.
So I think that's extremely helpful background in terms of how you're working with these partners. But let's dive into it, Stefan, in terms of the content actually. And before I come to you, for anybody watching the live stream today, and there are going to be some replays, so don't do this if you're watching a replay. But if you're watching the live stream today, feel free to submit any questions on the live chat. We're monitoring that, and we'd be happy to take questions from the audience. But let's go to you, Stefan. And I think TCL's confidence in its display technology is probably reflected in the very powerful branding you use, which is display greatness. I've seen that on your packaging and on your advertising. Tell me a bit about that philosophy and why you're using this term and what you think it brings to customers who buy TCL products. I'm afraid you're on mute there, Stefan, I think.
So now it should work again, hopefully. Can you hear me? So This is, as I explained a little bit at the beginning, TCL, when we introduced TCL a year ago at CES in Las Vegas, we wanted to bring something new to the market and not just do the same what everybody else is doing. So we definitely have a long-term strategy, which is about delivering an outstanding display experience and enhanced visual experience, but also a more safe visual experience. So display greatness stands for three things, more or less. Of course, it talks about us as a company and as a brand overall, and reflects our expertise when it comes about doing great displays. But it should also communicate directly the product benefit in each of its price segments. We make sure that the TCL product has an outstanding display experience compared to the competition. So it is also communicating directly like a key selling point. But probably the third point and most important one, this is more like a very emotional consumer call to action. And looking at what people are doing with the smartphones today, most of us is, of course, we are very active in the social media, but we capture great moments, we capture something, or we see something, and we share this through social media. So at the essence of display greatness is actually that we believe there is greatness in all of us, okay? And we want to make this a more comfortable experience, a more fun experience for the users, to capture the greatness. And the display greatness moment can be, look, I tried to bake my first cake today, right? And this is also a moment of display greatness, we believe. Or you have seen a beautiful sunset or something with your kids or with your pets. And this is where we feel like there's so much greatness around the world, and we want to help to capture that and that you can enjoy it more because you have a fantastic display. So this talks a bit about the overall positioning, how we want to do, and also directly should be a call to action to the consumers.
And then you've also used the term, and in fact, we heard Ting talking about this with the Pixelworks partnership. You've been using this kind of next vision technology, which has really helped you enhance your displays. And we heard from Ting, and also, we're going to hear, I'm sure, more from Francois about the amazing performance you're getting on the TCL devices. So I know you announced some new devices at the latest virtual CES event. I think it was the TCL 20 family. Will you be working with Pixelworks on those devices and continuing the next vision technology kind of promise with those products?
So we started as well with Next Vision at the CES 1 year ago, which, so to say, is Next Vision 1.0. Now we move into the second generation, and it's Next Vision 2.0, which is, let me explain like this. Next Vision is an overall visual enhancement for any kind of content you're looking at, okay? And what it does is, it does mainly four things. So it gives you visual enhancement. So it has a higher color accuracy. It has a higher, so to say, sharpness and clarity, but also something that consumers really like is it converts your SDR content into HDR quality automatically. So most of the YouTube videos you see on a mobile device, they are SDR quality. The phone transforms this into HDR quality, which of course is fantastic. Okay? But then the second point is also part of the Next Vision proposition is that we want to make this a more safe experience for your. So we want to make sure that also adaptive color and smart display technologies that also adapt to the environment, light, and what kind of content you're looking at. And then, we're also looking, the third point we're doing is that we have interactive multi-screen interaction. So as TCL is a consumer electronics company, of course, we are very keen to see like how you're going to use a mobile display in connection with a TV, with a tablet, and the PC. So this is also part of the Next Vision proposition, to make this an easy connectivity, but also as we are all doing multitasking, and right now maybe we're doing the work on the PC screen, or we're watching a game on the TV, we want to look at solutions where you can actually mirror your live phone screen into the big screen. So you just look at one big screen, right? And you still see like actually your multiple devices. So there's a number of these things. And Next Vision is powered more or less by two things. It's a lot of AI technology, so a lot of software that goes into, plus the Pixelworks Iris chipsets family.
Okay.
Not every product has this chipset in there, but definitely our flagship devices will use Pixelworks chipset, because that allows us to have an even better enhancement. And this is like, you know, for the top of the range, this is the best experience you can get on a display. And here as well, we move to the next generation of the chipset from Pixelworks with our 20 series, which we're going to disclose a bit more details in a couple of weeks from now.
Fantastic. So I think you know, it's a perfect time to come back to you, Ting, and talk about the you know, the Pixelworks technology. It sounds as though the partnership continues with the TCL 20 devices, and Stefan talked about these you know, amazing elements you're able to add, such as the upscaling from SDR to HDR. Perhaps you could tell us a bit about that, and maybe, you know, some of the other things you're doing, like making sure that the displays aren't so tough on your eyes through kind of reducing blue light and other things. So tell us a bit about the Pixelworks magic and how that's helping the TCL products and other partners you're working with.
All right, so we have been working with TCL for multiple years, and we work with on multiple models, and you know, our business or our goal is to improve video display experience, right? And you know, one of the problem we have today is for screens is that the screen varies a lot, right? From resolution, color, brightness, contrast, you know, frame rate for motion and detailed representation, all that. And over the years, I think the hardware, you know, panels has been improved a lot. But it's typically underutilized and somewhat mismanaged, you know, and also on the viewing content source side, we have various content coming into display. We have professional generated content like a movie. We have user generated content for short videos, which is very popular today, and there's books, you know, web pages, you name it. So you know, the combination of all these variations brings a lot of problems. You know, a typical problem would be inaccurate color shifting, dynamic range deviations, you know, and contrast and brightness misrepresentations. Those are and also frame rate mismatches. You know, all these things need to be managed and addressed. And through our technology, we have been working with TCL to address most of these issues. And you know, we can go through some details later, but then for example, accuracy, you know, is very important, right? I mean, I think, Ben, if you shop online for a red dress, you wouldn't want to get an orange in the mailbox.
That's a very good point.
Right? And but then, you know, today, if you look at the same photo on multiple phones, it looks different, right? And so that's inaccuracy, right? So those are the examples that we've been trying. Those are the problems we've been trying to work with TCLs, and of course, you know, if you through, you know, piece by piece calibration in phone level, which we've been doing with TCL, and then we can carefully introduce different optimizations to different content. And then, for example, you know, movie, you want to keep the original artist's intent, you know, what the director wants you to see, right? You can't really change that. Otherwise, it's you break the art intent. For a book, you view it, you know, you want to view it like a piece of paper instead of a light emitting panel, right? And you want it color to change when you read it on the bedside lamp with a warm light source, and you don't want this panel looks like a pure bright white or even bluish, you know. So those. So you know, we have to detect the ambient light and adjust the panel display accordingly. So those are the examples that we've been working with TCL to optimize the viewing experiences, and that's also including HDR playback and SDR to HDR up conversion that Stefan just mentioned.
Excellent. So that leads us nicely back to Francois, because Francois, obviously I thought that the example from Ting about a red dress looking orange was a great one. You have lots of devices in your hand all the time. You're trying everything. Your team are trying things. How often are you seeing kind of bad, color interpretation on devices? And can you tell us any horror stories you've seen and how you feel some manufacturers are doing a better job than others?
Yeah, sure. So of course, as said by Ting, so the color rendering or the color fidelity is important, but not only when you are in a dark room. You need to preserve the color fidelity even with daylight. And when you want to buy an orange dress, you need to receive an orange dress, not a pink dress, because you will be disappointed by your purchasing order. So we have been actually impressed by TCL 10 Pro that we measure, especially for those aspects, and mainly for video. So we test HDR10 content, so we focus on it, and the artistic intent has been preserved when comparing with a professional reference monitor. So this is, let's say, the good part of the story. So of course you can imagine that the other show some difficulties to keep the artistic intent when you have light on your display, and of course all the stray light, the reflectance from the top surface of the display can change the color rendering. So we noticed that the TCL 10 Pro was able to manage all of the issue to preserve the artistic intent for a good user experience.
That's good. So, and I think that's obviously a major factor. We've gone from a red dress to an orange dress to a pink dress, which I think is quite interesting. But the whole concept of accurate colors is fantastic. And I thought that the point that Ting made about different screen kind of presentation depending on the mode. For example, a book was a really good one. But let's move into kind of the direction we're moving in. And I'm going to come to you, Steve, and ask you to tell us a little bit about kind of the evolution of technology. I love new technology. I'm excited to see some of these things like, folding displays. I'm excited to see, OLED coming at more affordable prices. We seem to be in an era of new display innovation. How quickly can we expect foldable or rollable devices to become a reality, and what are you doing on these products?
All right. It's been almost 10 years ago to start to test foldability using the flexible display, but it has been 10 years. But we already dreamed about such kind of a foldable, stretchable, rollable more than a decade ago, right? So the thing is the material, how much the structure, and then how kind of a process and equipment available for mass production. I think it depends on firstly is the material first. So I think right now we are facing the foldable area. We are now changing into the rollable, any other the design flexibility. So even in this year, we demonstrated several kinds of folding demonstration. It's like a dual foldable, and also the in-folding, out-folding together. We just called it jet folding. So I think from now on, we are trying to develop more about how much we can divide very fast, how much different kinds of design we can achieve. But such kind of design should be satisfy the customer's needs. So I think it is important strategy to collaborate with the set maker and the panel maker. So what kind of a service, what kind of intelligent things we can supply or provide. So I think right now we are not getting into rollable. The foldable, rollable, it is not much difference. The foldable, just a one-time folding, and then rollable is many-time folding. In this year, we just demonstrate two-time folding. So I think as time goes on, we can fold much and much and more, and then we are now approaching to the rollable area. So such area is going to be 2 or 3 years, I guess.
So that's well, there you go. I mean, that's interesting to see the kind of journey, and it sounds as though you have more confidence, Steve, in the foldable technology with that single fold rather than the complexity of having to roll up an entire screen with all the folds that would require. Stefan, let's come to you because you've had these devices in your hand. I've seen you with prototype products. You've let me touch some of the devices you've made to see what they're like. I've had a question sent to me and they've asked me, what have you learned so far from these prototype products you've been experimenting with, and when are we going to see a TCL product with a folding screen being available for consumers to buy? So let's start with what you've learned so far. You've been all around the world, you've shown these products to people. What are the lessons that you've got as you move towards that commercial product?
Yeah, let me start with this. This is one of the main reasons why we introduced TCL as a brand into the mobile space, so that's into the mobile market. Because as Steve has explained, now we have this technology become available, okay? And this is something where we feel like TCL can really bring new product innovation to the market, okay? We feel like, I call this a little bit, like this, for the last 10 years, we more or less have all the same smartphones. It's the same product since 10 years. It's the same kind of form factor. There's nothing changed. It just becomes bigger, has a couple of more cameras, but it's not really hardware innovation. Looking back to when we had feature phones, there were many different form factors and types. All of us use different products, which was quite some fun. Now, since 10 years, we have the same. So when Steve starts to deliver, so to say, this green technology, that helps us to break out of this black box. And then our engineers can start to do, really be creative and innovative and create new form factors. This is a bit the main reason of the long-term strategy we have at TCL. Now to come back to your question about what have you learned. We had not the ambition to be first to market, okay? We believe this is a long-term market disruption and opportunity for TCL. We want to make it right. So we need to make sure the technology overall is mature, but also the user experience. But we learned about this, we haven't been shy to show many different form factors and concepts. And we're not saying that all of them will come to the market or will make it to the market, but in total, we have like 3 dozen different form factors. We show this to people like you because you give us a lot of feedback, but also to a lot of other in the media. But we also do consumer focus groups to really understand what people want to do with it, okay? What do they like, what they don't like? What is the things we need to improve? And some things we have learned about is purely the mechanic that comes with that. If you fold something or if you roll something, this is again like a new challenge for this industry because we didn't have any moving parts on these devices for many years, right? So we use our to learn like what is the mechanic, how does it open and how does it close, how much free stock or free flow you need to have, how do you use the product? So this is where we get a lot of feedback, and then I think a lot of things we learned about showing these devices is also about the user experience that happens on the software. It's great to break out of this, so to say, black box, but now this will be a new challenge where we have many, many different screen sizes on the same product, or a small display becomes suddenly a big display, right? So how do all these popular apps, let's say Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, and all of that, how do these apps react to a changing screen, so to say? What is the user experience? Can you do multitasking? What is a good user experience? So we're working there as well very closely with Google for the Android. operating system to understand like what does users expect and what not. So a very simple but probably a good case to illustrate this is like if you have, so to say, a product which you can fold open and you have a very large screen, and you also have an outside screen. Is, you know, you have Facebook, for example, open on your screen inside. When you close it, what does it mean? Do you close Facebook, or you just want to have Facebook come to the outside, right? So those kind of things, there's a lot of learnings we're doing, and we rather want to use right now the time to see what consumers really do with these devices and what is meaningful and where we need to pay attention. It's the mechanic, the user experience, what do the people want to do? And we learn a lot about this. This is great. And we feel that we're gonna become ready very soon. So you can expect a first product. I cannot tell you much about it, but a first commercial product later this year from TCL, where we use this foldable, bendable, rollable, whatever display technology. But you can expect that we bring this to the market. And let me do one more point. Is like also it's important for TCL is when we bring a product to the market is not that we put it on a price which is skyrocketing, right? We as a company always had the strategy to make this affordable and accessible for consumers. We want to bring these new technologies into more consumer hands that everybody can enjoy. That has always been our strategy on the TV side, but also for the other product categories. This is also, we want to really bring this into more accessible price segments, this technology. And this is one of the key strengths of TCL.
So what you're saying is you're not going to be following Huawei with a $2,700 foldable device. You'll be hoping to have something more affordable and more accessible to consumers to embrace this new technology.
Yes, absolutely. So I mean, you know, if you look a little bit on the price range as well, which we have on our TV products, you know, you would have a smartphone which is like $2,500. This would be more expensive than some of our premium TVs. That doesn't. Right? No. So this is something where we want to find ways, because we believe consumer will love it, you know, because everybody wants to have a large screen, but as small as possible product, right, to carry it with them. And this is, we believe like we have a lot of innovation to bring that, and also we have the ability to bring this into more affordable price segments. Definitely. This is, and you know, this is like, if you want to be first to the market, yes, maybe you need to price it very high. If you come a little bit later, probably you can send something more meaningful and more accessible.
So Francois, does this match your expectations? Again, you're sitting there, you're looking at all of these devices in the marketplace. What I'm hearing from Stefan is, you know, they're saying they'll have a product towards the end of the year. It's going to be more affordable. I'm hearing the same things from Samsung and some other players. Is that aligned with your view of the market? Are you getting your equipment and your team ready to be testing flexible and foldable display devices? And what are the things you're thinking about in terms of the challenges those types of devices will face?
So yeah, sure. We work on foldable, rollable, flexible display right now. So we think that this new technology bring a new important parameter to the end user. Actually, the screen size can be adapted to the user expectation, and it still fit in your pocket. So for us, it brings an overall better experience for watching movies with a bigger screen, for instance, or the possibility to have a real keyboard like on your laptop when texting or doing other things on social networks. And yes, we see some challenge for this new technology, so especially for the kinematic, that can be motorized or manual, so it means noise when opening and closing the screen size, but also some scratch are possible. The touch on the hinge, for instance, is not a good experience when you want to zoom or scroll up and down on these specific things. The battery also is a challenge because you have more pixels to drive. You need to manage a luminance level. So quite challenging. And of course, it's a smartphone, so it has to be smart. So the video processing needs to adapt the content to the pixel available. And the last challenge we see is for the reflectance level. So a higher display means more stray light. So all the coatings and all the film stack needs to be managed as well to reduce all those challenges, all those technical issues.
So Steve, obviously, Francois has just outlined some of the challenges we have there in terms of driving the pixels, the robustness of the screen. I think there's things like the refresh rate as well on flexible display where you have to make some compromises right now. What you talked about the journey you're on. Stefan's told us he's hoping that he'll have products available for consumers by the end of the year. So what are the expectations we can see from the TCL display division in terms of what you'll be able to deliver to address the concerns that Francois had around kind of the performance versus a traditional LCD screen?
Mm-hmm. Okay. The flexible, the panel is very thin. So it depends on what kind of a form factor we are chasing for. So we should follow the customer's requirement, any other user experience. But also, it's very hard to satisfy any mechanical stability. So we always trying to optimize any module structure, any other stress-related reliability. So I think we're trying to optimize any other design because we are from small size to big size. The stress level is quite different. So it takes some time to optimize. So I think end of this year, we're gonna see around the 7 to 8 inch foldable screen. A lot of panel makers try to prepare such kind of size. And then next year, so we are reaching to more than 8 inch, for example, 10 inch. It's like we already demonstrated. So still, we are doing the mechanical stability test. So the first fold, the dual fold, such kind of the mechanical will still keep going on. So we can expect more folding or lowering the screen we can see.
That's really helpful insight, and it's good to understand how those screens are progressively going to get bigger as well. Ting at Pixelworks, what are your thoughts on this? Obviously, you're right now traditionally you've just worked with the standard kind of LCD and OLED displays that people can offer, but flexible displays and bigger displays is going to present some different challenges. How do you think you're going to be able to support the growing number of companies who want to deliver devices with these new form factors?
Yes, I think Francois brought out a very good point, is that smartphone needs to be smart. And in my opinion, the display on a smartphone today is not that smart. It's quite a mechanical. So for us, we improved overall display quality and performance, right? And regardless, it's a fixed size or it's a rollable, or it's foldable. And what we are trying to optimize is actually the viewing experience. The viewing experience has multiple aspects. I mean, we talk about the ambient light conditions can vary, alter the color fidelity on a device. And I think when you're trying to run a 24 frame per second movie on a refresh rate of 60 or 90 hertz of screen, you will also see motion problems. And so we basically look at it as there's three aspects. One is environment. So the light changes, light intensity changes, the temperature of light changes. Then the content changes, right? We talk about that. There's multiple content that people are viewing at different time of the day, and then the viewer actually different people would have different viewing habits and preferences. And those are inputs of a smart or intelligent display. And smartphone, by the way, is smart in many ways, right? I mean, the smartphone knows your smartphone knows a lot about you. It knows, where you are, the geographic locations, the time of the day, the season, the light conditions through intensity and RGB sensors. And then it knows what you're looking at. It kind of knows your viewing habits, and all that information exists in the cell phone, but it's never really completely collected and analyzed and intelligently distributed into the display aspect. So our solution, is going towards more of AI-based display. In fact, we just introduced our first AI-based video processor called i6. And some work is actually being done with our prestigious customer here, which we'll see result very soon. So I guess our goal is to work on the artificial intelligence-based display as the overall improvement for next generation display technology.
So I think that's a very important observation, not just smartphones, but smarter displays. And, you've given some good examples of that. Stefan, let's come back to you. And of course, we've talked a lot about smartphones so far, but TCL makes so many other products as well. They make the TVs you talked about. Whenever I go into big retail outlets now, I see your massive, very affordable TVs there. And they look fantastic. But the other thing you've been working on is the tablet market. And you recently announced, I saw some technology called Next Paper, which seems to kind of build on your Next Vision story. Now, of course, tablets have had a little bit of a renaissance as a result of the pandemic, as people have been doing a lot of learning from home, having the chance to consume content some more. It sounds as though you're looking to revolutionize the tablet experience as well as the smartphone experience, but keep it affordable. What's this Next Paper all about?
So Next Paper is definitely is a completely new display technology, and it's kind of an artistic combination between paper and display. Okay? So let me explain it to you like, probably many of you using e-readers or the Amazon Kindle to have your ebooks, etc., which is a fantastic experience to read a book and text. It really feels like paper. It has a super high contrast and everything. But just most of these products, they are black and white or monochrome or grayscale. So you cannot do much more than reading text with this. Or browsing a website is actually very difficult, but also just playing a video many times is not possible. Right. So what we're doing here is the Next Paper display technology is a new display technology which doesn't have any backlight. So it does the same job as so to say e-ink. So it takes more or less the environment light and reflects that back. So doing this, you have a number of benefits. First of all, the display component itself gets like 35% thinner. So you can make very thin tablets. But the real benefit is most of the power consumption of the display actually comes from the backlight. Okay? So if you don't have any backlight, if you take, so to say, the environment light or sunlight, you can have this tablet like 65% longer than a regular LCD display operating.
Wow.
Now looking, you refer to that at the pandemic situation, the renaissance of the tablets. We see there is a high demand when it comes to online education, but also, homeschooling, etc. Many parents, they are kind of concerned that their kids now spending so many hours in front of the screen. Not having a backlight is completely reducing the blue light or any harm to your eye. You can actually look at the screen for many, many hours and you're not getting tired because it's the same quality as paper. But it is full color. It can play video. It can play games. You can surf the web, so you can do anything. So if you look like the kids now attending online schooling or if you do online study, it's not enough that you just have a black and white, text kind of display. you need to also see videos or animations, or you need to do the graphics. So of course, it is not as bright as the Super AMOLED or the LCD display, but actually it is doing like a job similar to if you reduce the brightness level to around 30% on your smartphone or tablet, which is very comfortable actually. If the benefits you have, that you're not getting tired eyes, and that you can operate on this for a very long period, without charging it. So this is a new display technology we are introducing now, and it's coming in the second quarter to the market. And it shows like we do lots of fancy things in the foldable, flexible, bendable, or rollable category, but we also really it's keen or it's very close to our heart to also deliver a more safe experience and really look like, can we deliver something as well for our kids or for our students or for just people who need to use a screen for a long time a day, and they don't need to have the most, brightness in there all the time, because for probably 70-80% of the content is absolutely okay to have a reduced brightness, and coming then with the other benefits. So we are very excited about this, and we get a lot of positive feedback about this new display technology.
Fantastic. Francois, let's come back to you. How much are you thinking about the health implications of screens? We've heard Ting talk about this. We've heard Stefan talk about this. Blue light in particular seems to be one of the big challenges the world faces with regards to more and more people spending more time on screens. Is this something you measure at DxOMark, and something you're thinking about with regards to a metric for how good a device is in terms of keeping your eyes fresh?
Yeah, sure. So we focus on the comfort and visual experience. So of course that's important. So we measure the blue light, the spectrum of the light. So we know the blue light reduction when enabling the blue light filter on and off. So of course we care about those things, but we are not in the medicine area. So we are engineers. So we provide measurement on those things. So it's quite tricky. So right now we only measure the spectrum. So we give the data to the consumer to know what's going on with these devices. So we work with people in this area, in this field, where it's a public challenge. So everybody is talking about this thing. So for sure, your screen is not as aggressive as the sunlight, but it can impact the quality of your sleep. So this, of course, we work on it. We focus on that, but more from a technical point of view, measuring the data.
So we've got about 5 minutes left, and I think it would be fun to go around the panel and ask everybody what they are most excited about with regards to the evolution of the next generation displays, where we're going. Everybody get your thinking hats on. Keep your answers quick because of time, but I'm going to come first to Steve, because you're working in the area where you're driving new display technologies and capabilities. And so you've probably got the best crystal ball of all of us in terms of being able to look into the future. You've already been generous in terms of telling us we're moving to new process technologies. We're probably looking at foldable displays today of around 6 to 7 inches for commercial deployment, moving to 8 to 10 inches in future. What for you, if you're looking at it and you're kind of excited and you're telling your friends outside of the industry, you're not going to believe what you're going to see. What are the things you're excited about in the future? And then a similar question to everybody afterwards, just so you can prepare. But Steve, sorry, you have to go first.
We are now changing our technology from LCD to OLED, and also we are changing to flexible, and all the other design form factor is going to be changed. But thing is, we can make a lot of different size, from small, middle size, big size, with one technology. So I think the interesting point is we are facing some of our some collaborating, some same category. We don't define any different segment. For example, laptop, smartphone, tablet. No, we can achieve in the same device. We can during the folding and loading process, we can supply different experience, no matter what kind of a size, because that is a very important point, I think.
So I think that's a really good point. I think the flexible display technology means anything can have a screen, and you can have all sorts of flexible kind of user scenarios for a device. So that's good. Let's come to you, Ting, now, in terms of your again, doing constant R&D. You talked a bit about AI as a technology which is going to define display technology. What are you excited about in the display space as we move into the next few years?
Okay, so we had a year of pandemic here, right? And we couldn't go to the movie cinemas as we used to go. So I end up watching movies on my tablets and cell phones more than previously. And I think it's the future of display. It's actually all about viewers' experience, regardless of the panel type or the physical format, whether it's a foldable, rollable, bendable. Yeah, but to further or continuous improving viewing experience, I think as we discussed before, intelligent display is the direction. But I think also when we talk about viewing experience here, there's more factors or players in this whole ecosystem, right? We have been covering panel technology and maybe a mobile phone as a system integrator, but then what is the role of a video distributor like Netflix? What is the role of the original content producer, right? And you have to create this full control, the video pipeline to deliver the original artistic intent and gets reproduced in the final viewer's device and deliver that experience. So I think this is actually a bigger challenge, and it is indeed beyond this panel. But I think in the future we will have ways to address this type of a bigger I wouldn't say problem, but the improvements that.
That's good. Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. That's a really interesting view of kind of the broader ecosystem of content creators, distributors, and the hardware and software providers coming together to optimize the experience. We're getting tight on time. Francois, quick one from you. What are you excited about? And then we'll go to Stefan to wrap things up. So Francois, what are you looking forward to in the display space?
So obviously I'm excited about several things about display in the coming years. So of course, a higher screen refresh rate, it really brings something for the end user.
Yeah.
So in terms of technology, rollable, flexible, foldable display, it is something for the display industry. And more for midterm, I'm really excited about augmented reality and virtual reality.
Excellent. Well, maybe we can do another session on those stories in the future. But let's go finally to Stefan. Let's try and pull it all together, Stefan, and talk about kind of your excitement for this area. TCL has put some kind of stakes in the ground. You talk about display greatness. You've got new technologies like Next Vision, Next Paper. You span device categories from enormous TV display panels all the way down to small smartphones. I'm sure you must feel very optimistic about the outlook, but do you want to just wrap things up in terms of TCL's view and what we can kind of look forward to as your journey continues?
I think what we are most excited is really like, having this foldable, flexible, whatever, this bendable display technology in-house, this expertise. Because at the end, what TCL is a product company. You're very good in doing products. And really the thing which I'm personally most excited is, like, if you look at all the products you're using every day around you, most of these products are defined by the physical size of the display. That defines the size and the form factor, and in many cases also limits, so to say, the user experience or the use case directly, because you cannot break out of that. And you will see in a few years from now, and it's starting, of course, already now, it's like, as soon as you can come out of that, the laptops in the future will probably look very, very different, and the tablets will will transform into a smartphone and vice versa, and maybe we have a watch where we can pull out displays in all kind of directions. There is no more limit about creativity and innovation to create new products, different user scenarios and use cases. And I think that's the exciting part, where we feel like as TCL, we can bring something new to the market and not just do what is already there and just do it cheaper or a little bit better. This is where we feel like there is an exciting moment now, and it's a longer term strategy, as most of the products will have some sort of a display that you can redefine, so to say, many of these products in the future.
Thank you, Stefan. We're all out of time. That hour has flown by. Thank you all very much indeed, Stefan, Steve, Ting, Francois. I hope we can do this again, but next time maybe we'll all be together in person. We can all have a good look at Stefan's new devices, and we can look forward to the future of displays. Thanks again, and look forward to talking to everybody again in the future. Goodbye.